It's me, Harry Potter, the boy that lives under the stairs. And I'm here to tell you all about me magical world of wizards and dragons and Thatcher-era social ideology and complex issues of personal morality reduced to whether or not you're an uggo. Video Starticus! So, Just Kidding Rowling is a TERF. We all know that by now, which seems odd given that the Harry Potter series, at its core, is really a story about the importance of love. Except, when you really look at it, it's a story about a very specific kind of love. A very insular, selfish kind of love. It is a story about the love between family members and friends who are so close that they may as well be family members. Harry loves Ron, and Hermione, and the Weasleys, and Dumbledore, for some reason, but he never shows any kind of broader societal love. Everybody that Harry loves he knows personally, and everybody that loves Harry is either a friend of his or was a friend of his parents. There is no wide, general societal love like you might get in a character like Superman or Doctor Who. Harry Potter is a story about the importance of love for people who are yours. Love your own, let everybody else look after themselves. The only example we see of a wider societal love in the entire series is Hermione's campaign for elf rights. And that's a joke. It's literally a joke. Even the name is a joke. It's the joke from Red Dwarf.
The Committee for the Liberation and Integration of Terrifying Organisms and their rehabilitation into society. One drawback with that, the abbreviation is clitoris.
But for children. Hermione cares about the treatment of a species that she does not personally belong to, so that Harry and Ron can roll their eyes about what a bore she's being. Cool, blimey, Harry, that Hermione always going on about the subjugation of the elf slave race that our entire society seems to be built on, especially here at Hogwarts. God, what a bore, eh, Harry? The books go out of their way to show us that Winky, the only house elf we ever see attain freedom other than Dobby, who sucks and is the worst,
Dobby is free,
is so horrified at being given freedom that she falls into deep depression and develops a serious drinking problem. The books go out of their way to show us that when the station of elves is improved in any way, they become miserable. Elves know their place in society and they are happy there, and any attempt to improve their situation is stupid and comical and actually does more damage to everyone involved than if you just left them in their proper place. People in a lower situation should just stay quiet and not bother the people upstairs. This is certainly an opinion one might have if you were, say, a successful and incredibly wealthy author from a middle-class white background, but not the kind of opinion you might have if you were, say, from any kind of minority. Perhaps the idea that those who are suffering under the status quo should just stay quiet and accept their lot and not bother their betters, maybe that's, incredibly fucking offensive, actually. Maybe the idea that you shouldn't care about people unless they're the same kind of people that you are, maybe that's an incredibly fucking toxic idea, and maybe that's what leads people to, for example, not give a shit about trans rights, because, hey, it's not like anyone they know is trans. Do you know what actually sums up perfectly the approach to love shown in these books?
And there's no such thing as society. There are individual men and women and there are families, and no government can do anything except through people, and people must look after themselves first. It is our duty to look after ourselves and then also to look after our neighbours.
Bodies within the Harry Potter world exist in even more of a binary than the genders do. You are either normal looking or you are a bad person. Professor Snape? Bad person. Disgusting greasy hair that is mentioned multiple times per book. Professor Umbridge, bad person, repeatedly referred to as looking toad-like. Filch, bad person, sallow skin and hunched back. And this is the real kicker of the whole thing. Professor Umbridge, fat. Molly Weasley, plump. Yes, much like the beloved 1990s BBC cooking show, these are two fat ladies. But strangely, only one of them is given the label fat. Why is this? Well, it's because one of them is intended by the audience to be read as a bad person, so she's fat. The other one is intended to be read as a good person, so she's merely plump. Plump is the word being used because this is a fat person, but they also need to be a good person. And how could a fat person be good? Plump is the weird moral compromise you reach when you realize that maybe somebody doesn't fit the physical conventions of how someone should look, but you can't actually let go of your mental hang-ups that people who don't fit those conventions are morally bad people. Now, we trans people are not a conventionally attractive people. I myself am a woman with a jaw like a fucking cowcatcher. Whereas old Rowling looks like she's gonna have Matthew McConaughey come and teach her about how love is more important than having a career in the business job in a movie that's gonna get 32% on Rotten Tomatoes. So you can see why she might think that people who look like me are not deserving of the same rights and basic dignity that she receives. So here's a fun quote about Umbridge from the Harry Potter wiki. She spoke of a simpering, high-pitched voice that was girlish and breathless, contrary to her appearance. A villain who speaks in a high feminine voice and yet does not look feminine. I wonder which class of people that could possibly apply to. Obviously I'm talking about my own class of people, even though I don't do the voice. The voice is very hard to do, okay? But this also applies to any cis woman who has a feminine voice but doesn't have a classically feminine appearance. Tough shit to you, I guess, if you're a cis woman but you don't look like a proper woman? Once again, transphobia is being used as a weapon to attack cis women who do not look like the correct ideal somebody has of what a cis woman should be. Oh, did I just casually mention that having a physical appearance that society doesn't find acceptable means that you are a morally bad person? Well, as the Harry Potter wiki puts it, her wide toad-like smile and tendency to speak in a sugary voice that was often described as poisoned honey was a physical exemplification of her cruelty that was barely hidden by her seemingly harmless dress style. And if that isn't a perfect summation of the way the Harry Potter series treats bodies, then I don't know what is. These are the bits that don't really fit in the rest of the video, but whenever you're writing anything about the Harry Potter series, you're always going to come across this just constant parade of what the fuck was she thinking? First, this bit of insanity from a 2000 Guardian interview. Harry also reflects the modern world, she argues, in that he is mixed race. His father being a pureblood, his mother being a muggle-born. Joe? Are they both white as fucking mayonnaise? This is the absolute worst kind of fantasy race allegory. Harry is mixed race, except his parents are both the same goddamn race. In fact, everyone is the same race, except for Kingsley Shacklebolt, the Patel twins, Magnitude, and Cho fucking Chang. This is the kind of piss-weak bullshit that leads to things like Dragon Age Origins, where, we're going to have a mature story that explores racism against elves, but all the actual main characters will be white. Except, arguably, this guy, who's more Mediterranean, really? But even then, he's the one potentially not white character, the one you get to romance, and he's sexual as fuck. The one non-white character, and he's crazy horny. And also bisexual. The crazy sexual, horny bisexual, potentially non-white. Just stellar writing over at BioWare as always. This is getting really off track. The second thing I want to bring up is that in this world of unlimited magical imagination, there are somehow masculine and feminine robes. Here's a clip of Ron having a little tantrum because the dress he has to wear to the Christmas party isn't as masculine as the dress he normally wears.
What are those? No, those.
My dress robes.
Oh, they're all right. No lace, no dodgy little collar.
Well, I expect yours are more traditional.
Traditional? They're ancient. I don't know, my great Aunt Tessie.
It's an entire culture of people whose sartorial choices are exclusively dresses, yet apparently putting a bit of lace on the cuffs takes it from being a boy's dress to a girl's dress. Why does the wizard world have the exact same attitudes and approaches to gender that the Muggle world does when they apparently divided 500 years ago? Explain that to me, Rowling! Thing number 3. The wand chooses the wizard. We all remember that little bit of lore, right? But did you know that abnormally short wands usually select for those in whose character something is lacking, rather than because they are physically undersized? Too bad, 11-year-old child that just got chosen by a short wand. I guess you just have something lacking in your moral character. I guess the nebulous forces of magic just intuited at age 11 that you are a morally deficient person. Although I will give Rowling credit, this does fit in with the whole thing where the Sorting Hat can tell at age 11 that you're an irredeemable Nazi piece of shit that belongs in Slytherin and will never be redeemable. Remember how literally none of the Slytherin students stay behind to help in the Battle of Hogwarts? J.K. Rowling is a house of turf thoughts built on a foundation of shitty attitudes about how love should work and what your body means about you morally. And this shit is peppered all throughout her writing. Going back and reading these Harry Potter books is like... It's like you're eating a nice piece of fish for dinner and you're like, you know what, this fish actually is pretty good. Oh, there was a bone in this fish!
Hello, this is the end of the video. This is the place where I thank my generous patrons who support what I do. That is Christy Williams, Debbie LaCroix, Gail Frisbee, Malix, Michelle, Phil Nadier. Phil, if I'm saying that wrong, let me know. Russell, Shirley, Unsurpassed Travesty. Wait, no, I thought there was another one. I read that wrong. Oh well. This is also the part of the video where, I tell you that we didn't realize until after filming the video that the little adjusty knob things on my tripod are all coming loose. So the camera is very slowly tipping forward during this whole video and we didn't know that until the end. That's just the YouTube making magic process. Goodbye, everyone.